This is not a drill. Mathieu van der Poel, Dutch hero, rainbow jersey collector, and certified gravel gremlin, has once again given us all a collective heart attack by doing what he loves most, not caring about the rules, or calendars, or basic professional risk assessment. Welcome to the story. Mathieu van der Poel doesn't care about the Tour de France. 1. Mountain bikes? Really? So here we are. It's late May. The Tour de France is creeping up like an overly aggressive PR intern. And most riders are busy doing normal Tour de France things. Altitude camps, recon rides, obsessing over marginal gains and posting shirtless mirror selfies from Sierra Nevada. But not Mathieu van der Poel. Nope. Mathieu decided that the best way to prepare for the world's biggest road race was to hurtle himself down Czech hills at 50 k's an hour in a glorified mud bobsled. That's right, instead of staying in one piece, he opted to race the UCI MTB World Cup in Nove Mesto na Moave, a race known for rocks, roots, and roughly a 90% chance of dental reconstruction. Because nothing says, I'm peaking for July, like a face full of forest and a bike with no handlebars left. Let's be honest, racing mountain bikes a month or two before the Tour de France is kind of like preparing for a job interview by skydiving without a parachute. Thrilling, but also entirely avoidable. 2. The crash. Now, in case you missed it, and good for your blood pressure if you did, Mathieu van der Poel didn't just ride the Nove Mesto mountain bike race, he crashed in it, spectacularly and disastrously. In what we can only be describing as a physics experiment gone rogue, van der Poel misjudged a route section, somersaulted over his handlebars, and performed what we can only describe as a very elite level self-yeet into the forest floor. He got up, tried to keep riding, because of course he did, but eventually DNF'd the race. You know, the acronym for did not finish, which in this case might as well mean daring nutcase fails. And, let's be crystal clear, this wasn't a minor, oops, I slipped on a banana peel kind of crash. This was a full-on tumble, worthy of its own Discovery Channel documentary. 3. Quotes and reactions. So what did the man himself have to say? After the race, he told reporters, quote, I didn't feel great. I made a mistake and crashed hard. It didn't make sense to continue. Translation. I nuked myself into a tree and decided maybe today wasn't the day to lose teeth for 17th place. Team Alpecin team manager Christoph Rudhoft chimed in like a disappointed babysitter, telling Cycling News, quote, he didn't have a good day, and with the crash, there was no point to take more risks. Yes, because clearly there were absolutely zero risks involved in entering a mountain bike race full of high-speed corners and low-probability survival odds in the first place, weeks before the Tour de France. Even former mountain bike world champ Nino Schröttner looked a little bewildered, reportedly saying, quote, he's always aggressive, but sometimes it's too much risk before a big goal race like the Tour. Nino, the man once dubbed the Chuck Norris of XC racing, is telling you to calm down. That's when you know it's real. 4. The bigger question. But here's where it gets juicy. Here's where the conspiracy board with red yarn comes out. Because the multi-million-dollar question is, why is van der Poel doing this? Why is he launching himself off cliff edges and forest furniture mere weeks before the Tour de France? Is it for fun? Probably. Is it smart? Absolutely not. Is it proof that he just doesn't really care that much about the Tour de France? We're not saying yes, but also yes. Let's be real, if your main goal in life is to show up at the Tour de France and go toe-to-toe with Tadej Pogacar, Jonas Vingegaard and a bunch of other monsters, you probably don't risk fracturing your wrist in an XC race that gives you 0 tour points and maximum potential for a hospital visit. 5. He's not a GC guy. Now let's address the van-shaped elephant in the room. Mathieu van der Poel isn't a general classification guy. Never has been, never will be. He doesn't train for 21-day stage races. He doesn't count carbs like Vingegaard. He doesn't wake up in the middle of the night to altitude tent alarms like Pogacar. He doesn't even ride with a heart rate monitor unless someone tapes it to him while he's sleeping. He's an opportunist, a stage hunter, a destroyer of Roubaix, a sultan of Strade, a world champion who would rather die than finish a flat sprint stage sitting third wheel in a peloton farting itself to sleep. And maybe that's the whole point. He's not trying to be some GC bot. He's just trying to entertain himself and make it to Paris with a stage win or two, some dirt in his socks, and a new scar to show his grandchildren. 6. Comparison to real tour prep. Let's take a moment and compare Van der Poel's preparation to what actual GC contenders are doing. Jonas Vingegaard, recovering from life-threatening injuries after his freak Paris-Nice crash, doing altitude camps in secrecy, and reportedly training like Rocky Balboa in the Alps, with only goat cheese and punishment for company. Tadej Pogacar, currently turning the Giro d'Italia into theatrical production called How Many Ways Can I Win, and still doing 6-hour rides like it's a coffee run. Remco Evenepoel, probably in a wind tunnel somewhere testing his new helmet while drinking smoothies made of oxygen and pain. Mathieu van der Poel? Let me hurl myself into a Czech forest real quick. Be right back. 7. Fans react. Fans, of course, had thoughts. On X, formerly Twitter, user put, quote, "Is Van der Poel trying to sabotage himself? Bro, save it for the tour." Another user said, quote, "I love him, but also why are you like this, Mathieu?" And perhaps the most accurate summary, quote, "When you're built different, but also built slightly recklessly." Some fans loved it. He's doing it his way, while others were moments away from sending him bubble wrap in the mail. 8. Is this self-sabotage? Here's the twist. What if this is actually intentional? What if Mathieu van der Poel doesn't want to win the Tour? What if he's subconsciously throwing himself into risky side quests because deep down he knows that being a Tour de France contender means spreadsheets, sleeping upright in recovery boots, and saying no to mountain bikes? And Mathieu van der Poel says no to nothing except maybe common sense. This is a man who races cyclocross, road, gravel, and now mountain bike. He's the human epidemic of what off-season. His race calendar reads like a scavenger hunt. If the Tour de France doesn't fit into his vibe, maybe that's the vibe he's going for. 9. His priorities. Let's list Van der Poel's priorities as of late. Win cyclocross world titles while his rivals are doing altitude training. Race mountain bikes while other Tour contenders are counting grams of rice. Possibly invent his own discipline by June and enter it. Occasionally destroy a monument or stage race when it suits him. Laugh in the face of structure. You think he's worried about yellow jerseys when there's a perfectly good mud pit to dive into? Please. 10. The team's dilemma. You can only imagine what Alpecin and their team WhatsApp group looks like right now. DS1. Mathieu, please don't race Nova Mesto. Mathieu sends a photo of him already midair. DS2. We need you at 100% for the Tour. Mathieu posts a GoPro clip of his crash set to metal music. How do you even manage someone like that? How do you tell a unicorn to be a donkey for 3 weeks in July? Answer, you don't. You just hold your breath and hope that the horn stays attached. Well, now I turn to you guys for your opinions. Obviously, Mathieu's fun to watch. He's one of the most entertaining riders out there. So, this is just friendly criticism, but I think in my opinion, to me anyway, it's proof he doesn't really care about the Tour de France. Subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all of the latest cycling news, cycling drama and cycling results. Leave a like on today's video to support the channel, and also consider commenting your opinions down below.